Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of astronomy from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and Astro-theology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information.
We say blessed love to each and every one. Give thanks for your presence with us as we glorify Negus and Nagas, Emperor Haile Selassie I is exalted in all good doings and sayings. With joy, we welcome you to another edition of the Tiger's Nest. Your humble servant, the Honorable Priest Isaac, here with you. And of course, as I said, great jubilation as I welcome you into the zone, as we definitely open the heavens and take this to another level as is customary. This is a program that comes to you every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the Tiger's Nest. We're thankful to all those who are a part of the subscription team. These are those and they that get the program every, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, specifically after the program has been recorded. And for sure, those who are not a part of the subscription team, a very simple thing to do, just email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, and for sure you'll be definitely given all the information you'll need to know as it relates to never missing another episode of the Tiger's Nest again. This evening, royal family, of course, as you know, those who are definitely in the spirit world know that this time of the year and many people are fasting in different realms and different corners and in different atmospheres. Of course, even within Islam, it's around the time of Ramadan as we speak at this moment here. But of course, the Lenten moment also going through some aspect of the Christian world. And then at the same time, you have the 40-day and 40-night fasting period that is even found within Rastafari. And many people are quite shocked, Up to a day like today, people are still saying, wait, where's a Rasta keep Lent? And that of course is Bobo Shanti, those of us of the EABIC, Ethiopia, Africa, Black International Congress Church of True Divine Salvation. But I want to go into some of the mystic aspects of the Lenten moment, some of the mystic aspects of the concept, the theological concept of the 40 day and 40 nights, and the whole aspect of the resurrection of the Christ figure as it relates to the fasting. And of course, every year people are very much interested in getting information on the Lent every year, no matter what, every year. No, I mean, every year, for some time now, I would have done programs, series of programs on the Lent, and invited the different elders of the order, those who would have sat with King Emmanuel, and of course, all of that is in the archives. Anytime you just type in Lent and my name, Priest Isaac or Tiger's Nest or something of the sort, you will see, the array of videos that come up on the YouTube channel dealing directly with the subject area, but you still got to keep up to date. Let me tell you that. And for sure, just yesterday, the members of the Council of Elders of the EABIC would have had their regular Sunday meeting, and they would have also broadcast the meeting through the Mindset channel of King Ija Star, Prophet Jeff. So those of you who know of the channel Ija Star Mindset, if you just link up with Ija Star Mindset, if I am not mistaken, it appears as if the Elder Council would be broadcasting their Sunday gatherings every Sunday on I Just Mindset. And this Sunday, which has just passed, would have definitely highlighted not just the Lenten period, but specifically the fasting um, tradition. Now, of course, it went into different realms. I think the program is like about 4 hours. I myself, I must say, I would have to really go back and sit in on it to really get the fullness. But I know for sure the brothers and the sisters would have gone into different aspects of the fasting and how to fast, and the scientific aspect of the fasting. And again, you could just visit the YouTube channel of I Just Star Mindset. And of course, you'll get a lot of good information for those of you who are seeking that knowledge, especially from the elders that would have been with the Honorable King Emmanuel, who would have set this 40 days and 40 nights for us. So at least you can at least sit in on the discussion. The conversation is set as a schoolroom where the different elders express their knowledge, and then it also goes into a conversation sort of atmosphere where some elders even recount different aspects of their history with King Emmanuel Charles Edwards and things that they would have learned directly from him, and exactly how they would have seen him express the order that many of us are guessing about today. So I hope you understand what I'm saying to you, Royal Family, those of you who are serious about this information. Again, point number one, you can visit my YouTube channel. You can literally just type in Lent, and several videos are fasting and praying, and several videos will appear on the subject. Not just fasting, but the whole historical aspect of it and the theology behind it, because there's a strong theology that many people sweep under the rug nowadays. you know, like the whole concept of Mother White Bridge, and he was hung on the Tuesday, and he was and he didn't die, and he was crucified on the Wednesday, and they threw him in the tomb, and he arose the Friday to keep his Sabbath. A lot of ones sweep that under the carpet now. So ones throw it under the house and say, well, you know, right now we look more wiser. I understand. I understand, but let's not throw away the baby with the bath water now. I get what you're saying, but sometimes in our wisdom we're getting dumber, you know, because we as African people, we always understood the dynamics and the meaning of symbolism. Some of us is as if we don't understand that the Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards is the master of understanding symbolism. So a lot of what we would have been taught that may sound as if, well, no, nothing can go so. It's not about it going so, you know, it's about comprehending the meaning behind of it. You know, we're coming from an ancient people who write in such a formation, who write in symbolism, who write in the esoteric formation. You understand? As I always tell people, you know, what's his name? The Jonah being swallowed by the fish. I don't believe nobody was swallowed by no fish, but that doesn't mean the story is a lie. No, it's a true story. The man Jonah went into the belly of the beast, you know what I mean, to liberate his people. That is why the same Christ that went into the underworld for 3 days and 3 nights could have utilized Jonah's experience to relate to his, you know, going in the underworld, whether it's going to America, going to jail, or go, going to some level of depression or some sort. Everyone has their different levels too. That's the next level of true theology. You all represent the Christ figure. You all go through the underworld. Everyone will resurrect because all of us are the sons and daughters of the Most High. So it's a deep thing, you know, family, way beyond Christianity and that kind of stuff. Real heavy, heavy meditation. And, you know, so the point I'm making here is that the rich symbolism that is within our order as Bobo Shanti, let's not throw it away. Let's not discard it and say, well, no, we don't want to hear that no more. And we have not taken the time to go through it properly. You understand what I'm saying? I'm very serious. So even the whole story behind the whole Lenten period that some of the elders speak about, and how he left St. Catherine's prison. And when he reached the 54B Spanish Town Road, he slipped while he carried the cross. And someone say, well, he slipped. When did this happen? Ones will tell you Christ was crucified in Egypt, Jamaica, 2,000 years ago, or sweep that under the rug. You know, now you see, this is the thing, because individuals will tell you, well, I never heard King Emmanuel say this. And the next man will say, no, well, I heard him say that. And next one will say, well, I never heard it, but it's in this book. And next one will say, well, you know who really write that book is them brothers that were really in the office. And then, you know, so you have to use a lot of wise mind, especially as a seeking student, you know, to unravel these things. And I'm telling you, you have great assistance in the tiger's nest. I wonder if you're following what's going on here. You have great assistance in the tiger's nest to unravel the mysteries of even disorder that we trod on. Eh? Remember in the movie The Black Panther, you know, in the original Black Panther, right at the beginning, when the brother was watching the mask, the brother said that, who is it? Oh, it was, who was it? The woman or the man? Oh, I can't remember everything. But was it a mask?
It was both. It was a woman in British Museum, and
Right.
it was a man.
Mhm.
A
The villain.
Yeah.
Right. And who said it was from the Bobo Shanti tribe?
The person who was the white woman.
Right. The curator.
Curator.
Right.
Exactly.
The Honorable Empress Naya, obviously in the house. Give thanks. So yeah, that's the Black Panther movie, you know. The acclaimed Black Panther movie. At the beginning, go and watch it again. The fella, the villain of the movie, looking at the mask, and she's telling him, and he knew this already. This is from the Bobo Shanti tribe. That's what she said, eh? She didn't say Bobo Ashanti, you know. She said this is from the Bobo Shanti tribe. It's in the Black Panther movie, eh? So there are many things to be unraveled. That's why I personally even show ones, well, to be honest, I wouldn't be too quick to change it from Bobo Shanti to Bobo Ashanti. I mean, one is free, you know, and I have no problem, and I clearly understand, you know. Well, if we're going to get nitty gritty, the term is not even Ashanti. Ones will say, exactly, it's a Santi. Okay, that's the next level, but it's deeper than that. It's so deep. The pronunciation has even missed me. It's something like Isinta. Yeah. And anyone from Ghana knows, well, maybe not anyone, because a lot of this stuff still is still with the grill that many of us do not check. Hey, listen, Royal Family, give thanks for your presence with us, now, man. This is the Tiger's Nest. This is the levels, you know. I mean, this is how we do it. It's all about information and inspiration. As I said this evening, we will be touching upon some aspect of the concept of the theology, and I'm going to be relating it to reality too, to show you where the concept of the crucifixion of Christ and him going into the underworld is not fable, is not religion, it's not Jesus. It is our tradition. It is our reality. And one of the great aspects that came out of the reasoning with the House of the Elders yesterday was the origin of the tradition of fasting, which didn't begin with Pope them fellas there and Gregory and this other fella there. None of them began it. They copied it as they copy everything. But the origin of the Great Fast is from ancient North Africa, ancient Kemet. So again, a lot of that good stuff, a lot of that good information will be seen. What I want to read to you, family, is a bit from the magazine Kidemi. And of course, you know, this specific edition of the Tiger's Nest, we will be sharing it with the family on the YouTube. So we are very thankful for that specific audience this evening. And of course, remember, you can get every edition of the Tiger's Nest by just contacting us, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com. And of course, you know, the magazine Kidemi comes out every 6 months, packed with information and vibration for sure. Of course, many of you would have surely already taken your time and gone through it. Many of you would have browsed through it. I'm inviting you to take your time, go through it, read it to your children. As you can see, many, many videos in there to look at and many things to watch and many things to keep you up with knowledge and vibration. But what I want to touch upon now, the importance of honey. Honey, the nectar of the gods. And what's interesting, as I said, it's the Lenten moment. And just prior to the beginning of the Lent, the beginning of the fasting moment for us, I got a call from an individual that is occupying a property of mine. And there was a swarm of bees that would have taken over a certain aspect of the house. So I had to go and get the bees out. I got some professional help, And of course, I would have done beekeeping in the early part of my Rastafari tradition. So we got the bees out, and I was blessed to have like a bucket full of honey and comb, of which even in breaking my fast, I feast on. And that was provided to me by the spirit of Lalibela. I'm talking about like the day before the Wednesday that they call Ash Wednesday, when the fast begin, you know. So of course, you know, the presence of the bees, the ancestors, it's a lot of energy there. So anyway, this says here, and this is in the magazine Kidemi. Of course, remember the magazine Kidemi. You could visit the website priestisaacinstitute.com, priestisaacinstitute.com. The link is in the description below. Family, I would love you to check out not only the magazine Kidemi, check out the latest edition of the Ambassador's Pen as well, and look forward to this special Ambassador's Pen launching upcoming. Again, we keeping the art of reading alive. So all the links in the description below, just go and click it and look at the magazine and go through it and vibes yourself up. Known by the ancient Ethiopians, early Greek and Roman civilizations as the nectar of the gods, referred to in the Hittite code, found within ancient Babylonian and Sumerian cuneiforms and Egyptian and Indian sacred scripts. Honey has been written into history since, well, since history began to be written. My words specifically that you're listening to, as it was written. I'm the author of it, basically. Each teaspoon of delicious golden honey contains the nectars of 5,000 summer flowers, personally collected, one flower at a time, by a devoted worker bee. Honey was used as a healing ointment at least as far back as ancient Egyptian times, and its popularity as a wound care product has had a recent resurgence. Well, recent resurgence maybe around certain people, but for those who would have seen the the uh, the upload that we did on the YouTube, we didn't upload one half of the course that we had for Earth Day, the course on astronomy, not astronomy, sorry, astro-theology. Yes, we highlighted a video which was speaking of the sacredness of the bees and in Ethiopia, and it was highlighting the churches that were created by King Caleb and at Gerogis and Kirkos, where the bees are still there up to today, and the honey from these bees would heal the wounds. Well, honey in general heal wounds, but it says that this honey now from these bees, from these specific places, would heal even certain, I guess, skin cancer and these things. And that was seen in the documentary that we highlighted in that course. And let me continue to read here. Honey is rich in antioxidants known for their properties in reducing the risk of cell damage and certain cancers. A growing body of evidence links honey with reduced risk of cardiovascular disease and type 2 diabetes due to its action on harmful triglycerides, chemicals linked to insulin resistance and inflammatory disease. All right, beautiful stuff. And as I said, this can be seen in the magazine Kidemi. Everyone should definitely get a read. Remember, everything here is free. You know, I'm talking about the magazines. They're all just there for your purpose and, of course, your access without any payment whatsoever. subscribe to the magazines, because a lot of things are coming that you would need to get. And at the same time, even to subscribe, there's no cost whatsoever. Have a beautiful article here on Emperor Lalibela and his direct link to the bees. Beautiful. All right, family. So as I said now, what we're going to do, we're going to get into the program now. All of that is the introduction, eh? That's the introduction of the Tiger's Nest. Very happy that you are here. But as I said, what I would like to do this evening, I would like to take some time to speak about the theology of the moment that we have been going through as Bobo Shanti for many years now, because there's a strong theology that goes with it. And of course, you know, I'm a theologian and a mystic. So I'm not about to, you know, discard the stories that I would have learned. I want to see how they fit in, you know, this whole aspect of the crucifixion of Christ. I don't mean from a Christian point of view, you know. I'm talking Bobo Shanti speak this stuff. You don't understand what I'm saying? Someone's telling that Christ was crucified in Jamaica 2,000 years ago. You understand? So let us see if we can get to the top of all of this. And of course, this is the Tiger's Nest. Don't go anywhere.
Blessed love, I am the Honorable Priest Isaac. I am an official priest within the realms of Rastafari of the Ethiopia Africa Black International Congress. I also hold a certification in the craft of astronomy from Politecnico di Milano in Italy. Our universe and its makeup has always been an intriguing subject for humankind. Astronomy is the study of everything in the universe beyond the Earth's atmosphere. Ancient astronomy is similar, but pays special attention to the physical and spiritual values of stars, planets, moons, and other celestial objects. It also brings in the terrestrial component, being things on an earthly plane, such as plants, human organs, and connects them to the heavenly bodies. In this course, you will learn the makeup of various planets and stars, how to locate them in the night sky, along with their associated constellations. You will also be taught about the earliest civilizations known for their astronomical comprehension, namely Kush, also known as ancient Ethiopia, Kemet, called Egypt today, the Dogons, and the Bozos, as well as the civilization of Sumer. You will also learn about black holes, their nature and origin, as well as how the ancients viewed them. Ancient astronomy is the mother of archaeoastronomy and astro-theology. Both subject areas are covered by the Priest Isaac's Institute of Holistic Knowledge. Sign up today. Visit our website, priestisaacinstitute.com, or email us, priestisaacinstitute@gmail.com, for more information.
Oh, yes, blessed love. Give thanks once again for your presence with us. And of course, again, this is the Tiger's Nest. And yes, we are talking about the ancient astronomy course. And for sure, remember, the ancient astronomy course applies to young ones and adults for sure. As I said, even if it's a 10-year-old, they can definitely adjust to the information and the way that the whole course has been designed. I'm telling you, as an individual that has perused through several courses, I'm just being honest. I've said it before. I've never come across a course, quite like the ancient astronomy course that we have put together. It's very grappling at the same time. It's very educational, quite entertaining, very graphic. I mean, it's very nice. It's nice and well put together, and it's a joy that people really express when they actually enroll into the ancient astronomy course. So don't take too long to do that for sure. And yes, family, before we go into the depths of the reasoning, let me also be thankful for all those who would have contributed internationally thus far to the 12th annual essay competition. For sure, we'll definitely highlight that in the near future once again. But of course, remember, if you desire to make a contribution to the essay competition this year, you still have time to do that. As I said, this is the 12th annual essay competition for our African History and Heritage Month, and nobody's boxing us into February. For sure, as you know, we start the campaign way before that, and everything goes way after that. Looking for the prize giving ceremony definitely in either late March, early April. And of course, definitely looking for even more entries from the national scene to come in for that essay competition. So again, as you know, it's for children from 7 to 17. And this year, we are asking them to write on 3 subjects. Well, they will pick the subject. It's the Kingdom of Kush, the Battle of Adwa, and the 38th African Union Summit, which passed about a little less than a month ago. So for sure, definitely laptops, tablets, computers, computer classes, all these gifts will be made available. A lot more promotion has to go into it. A lot more marketing still has to go into it because it's all about the youths, eh? As you know, this is not something that is done for profit whatsoever. It's all about the young ones. At the same time, individuals who desire to even donate a prize, whether it's a laptop or a tablet, all you have to do is contact us, Priest Isaac Institute at gmail.com, and let us know what your desire is, what you can do. At the same time, give thanks for all the love too. But at the same time, we're really asking if you're donating something, we are asking for quality, and if we are going to give any prize, we're buying something brand new. And I don't want to sound like I'm insulting anyone. Please don't be offended. I'm only speaking from my experience. You understand? And there are times when we actually have to pay, literally pay, to take these, things from the freight, from the shipping company. And then they're no good. Basically, they're no good. Let's put it that way. So please, no one be offended. I wouldn't say that unless it's something we have been through, and we would want to keep going through that. So we're just asking once, please. It's a really high respected competition we're having here. No secondhand anything. If it's secondhand, it's all right. We prefer not. That's the point. No offense. Please, please, please. I really hope it didn't come out offensive. I tried to say it as nice as I could, because it would really hold us back, to get a call and they say, well, we have something here for you at the shipping agency, and then we may have to pay a certain amount just to get it out. And then when we come home, it's something that's falling apart and don't even know what it is, and these kind of things. And this is the reality. Thanks for all the love, family. I mean that from my heart, but I'm just showing you the standards that this is really on. So those who are, if you want to donate a proper gift, brand new laptop, of course, you will know for sure that it's going towards a good and wonderful and mighty cause. All right, beautiful. So again, you know how to contact us, and all the links are in the description below. As I said, the tiger's nest in full effect and going through an interesting time in the earth as well. The time of the fasting and the praying moment, and at least for those who are of the order of the Bobo Shanti, and as I said earlier, many ones who are a part of different traditions in general. So for sure, you would know of the whole concept of the Lenten period, as I said in a previous program, as a child, really, as a younger one. The Lent philosophy was something that you would have directly related to the Roman Catholic, hardly even the Anglican, but more so the Roman Catholic when you hear about Lent. And that is why, even in this culture here, or my society where I would have grown up as such, individuals hearing Rastafari talking Lent sounds very strange. Even Rastafari is saying, what? Lent? What a man is it? So because it sounds like as if you are dealing with something within the realms of, let's say, the popes of Rome. No, for sure. To be honest, the term Lent is a term that is not necessarily like the right term, and even we, if we can try to remove ourselves from the term, but the reality is it's a period. It is a very serious period in nature that, as I would have said in previous programs, when Good Friday and Easter comes, you yourself can see and even smell in certain places the ocean cleaning itself out. I have no doubt about that. Remember, I live on the ocean, basically. This is not a landlocked country as such. And the ocean is just a blink away. So you can even smell it inland when the sea is cleaning out during that time of Good Friday. And I've witnessed that over the years, much so since I've been keeping this sort of tradition. I literally look out for that and say, you see, I tell you, look, you can smell the sea cleaning out itself as the Good Friday draws near. So it's really a time where you have a natural cleansing of the earth, nature, the atmosphere in some way or some degree. And this is the time that is again known as Lent, that begins at Ash Wednesday and ends at Good Friday. And you must keep in mind, all of this is lunar again. That's why the Ash Wednesday and the Good Friday dates are never the same. I mean, you can argue day and night and say, oh, how Jesus born one day, but he dead different days every year and all of that. Listen, I don't know what you're talking about, really. Well, I know what you're talking about, but this surely is not that. This is totally not that. And this is why, again, sometimes the terms that we use would trap us in these conversations. Because what we're doing, we're not following anyone. They're following us. So to utilize their terms really looks like we're following them, but they're following us. This is the ancient tradition, as I said, the council of elders, who you go to get the wisdom explained even yesterday, that we're dealing with something that the Honorable King Emmanuel himself would have already noticed came from an ancient time, even during this time. Even aligning with the spring and everything, of in the northern hemisphere. So it's nature at work. And again, it's dealing with the moon. After a specific new moon, the next Wednesday is what is known as the Ash Wednesday. So again, just like Halloween, remember Halloween? You celebrate Halloween? I hope not. But Halloween falls on a time of strong celebration. You know, You know, that's why in Mexico you hear them talking about the Day of the Dead. Around the same time of All Saints' Day. The same time certain portals are open, where even the emperor on the 1st of November did the Démarche, same Halloween time. 2nd of November coronated the emperor. Menelik coronated the 3rd of November, same time frame. So these killers know how to infiltrate the truth and make it look like theirs. So when we wake up now and go back for our truth, some of us who are overconscious will say, oh, I'm not into no Christian thing with you people there. You know, hold your Bible. The white man write the Bible and put it in slavery. And they can't even prove that, you know. That's just a wild thing statement people say. I understand your feelings, but we got to be a little more scholarly than that. So for sure, this is why even when you just have to check, you know, our archaeology, our artifacts, our arts and facts. Within the arts, you have the facts. When you see the best carrying the ram, you know, from thousands upon thousands of years before Michelangelo and these fellas painted Jesus carrying the liquor sheep, you know, but that is where it came from. And it's all directly connected to the time of the astronomical events of the age of the ram, which is Aries. So the concept now of the crucifixion of the Christ, the story that you would speak of in the Bible, and whether it's Jesus Christ, Yahushua Christ, or Jesus Christus of the Ethiopian tradition, I think the story is basically one and the same, and it's not any big problem because it's strong symbolism here. That's why when you read Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, you know, the whole story of his resurrection is quite different in every case. Family, this is the tiger's nest, eh? In a sense, we've just begun, but, you know, but we have a lot more to cover in the depths of where I want to go. So this is not the time to get weary at all. This is the time if you have to wash your face and wake up and light the next chalice because it's getting deeper. So most people understand the story. The Son of God came to save mankind. The government of the day wasn't too pleased with that. He was working a lot of miracles, bringing the dead to life, making the deaf hear, having the dumb speaking and singing. The blind wasn't running into the wall anymore. And these fellas said, hey, listen, we're just going to wait for the right time to catch this Negro here, and we're gonna string him up alive. According to the history and the story that we know, they actually cornered him as such and betrayed him through the betrayal of one of his disciples, and he basically led them to him to his secret spot, and then he was put before the judge and put before the courts, and he was found guilty and sent to prison, and he was tortured and eventually crucified and hung and died and taken down and was put in a tomb. And after 3 days, he resurrected and appeared unto many. Um, and depending on which resurrection story you watch, or you not watch, but well, watch too, but you read within the Bible, he he was embraced by many. And one scripture said nobody could touch him, but whatever the case is, that's the basic thread of the story. Basically, that's it. And of course, that may sound like just a simple run through, but that is the symbolic expression of the suffering of the Messiah. Now, within, I would say, Rastafari, the tradition, I want everyone to hear me now. Rastafari is Haile Selassie. Haile Selassie is the fulfillment of the anciency amongst us. That's how the elders would talk. And that's just what it is. The story I just gave there a moment ago, you may be accustomed to it from maybe the Bible or even Sunday school, but that's a life story. The crucifixion of the Son of God is something you see every day when the sun, S-U-N, sinks in the Western Hemisphere and then it comes up the next morning in the East, is the crucifixion, the death of the Son, and the resurrection. A very simple way to look at that theology. Because you must comprehend what you see played out before you, all movements of stars and heavens and everything, you know. It's something that's manifesting right in front of you too. That's why astrologers would go to the stars and tell you, hey, look for this, look for that. Because what the and they're usually not correct, you know, but the concept is right. That what's going on in the heavens, the stars, the movements of the sun and moon, directly correlates to reality around us and characteristics and energy. It's the truth. So that concept of the suffering Messiah that did not begin with Jesus. He himself pointed to Jonah going into the belly of the beast, because that concept is extremely old. I just mentioned the sun. And this is why you would see the ancient gods, the Neter, all carrying the sun and related to the sun. And many of them also in their stories that has been discovered speak of them going into the underworld as well. The most famous of the underworld travelers is Asa. Ra, when goes into the underworld, obviously rise the sun. Heru is Ra as well, going into the underworld. Kepra, master of the underworld. Ptah, another god of the underworld who plunged into even Naunet. How many of you know that one there? Depths. But Asa is the most pronounced when it comes to going into the underworld. To the point they have different versions of Asa going into the underworld. Listen to this, my royal ones. Hear this now. And what I'm saying is through years of research and studying and reading, sometimes I just spit it back out. Osiris went into the underworld just like the Christ for 3 days and 3 nights. Also for 5 years. Do you know Asa went into the underworld in a ship for 400 years? But you see, that's still directly linked to the 400-year prophecy. It's not just in the scriptures of the of the Bible you get that understanding. That is what has manifested into history when we speak about our 400 years of slavery and colonialism and Jim Crow and all of that stuff put together. That's the approximate time frame. And to me, if you want to square it up from Christopher Columbus 1492 to the birth of Haile Selassie 1892, square up the 400 years perfectly. Because they shall return to captivity in ships, according to the Bible. In Genesis, I think it's chapter 18, if I'm not mistaken, but they shall go into captivity in ships. You know, Deuteronomy speaks of it as well, 400 years. And then afterwards, I shall send them a savior, a great one. Deuteronomy mentions the ships. And Genesis speaks of the 400 years back into Egypt, which is a word that means captivity and bondage, in that esoteric sense. So that is where they're returning to, via ships. We know, I mean, come on, we already understand that. If the scripture says that the children of Abraham are going into captivity by ships for 400 years, and prophecy is revealed in history, well, to me, there's only one history that can link with that prophecy there of anybody, any people, any nation going into captivity for a whopping 400 years. And the main mode of transportation for them getting into this situation is via ships. Well, I mean, come on, man. You could hardly, there's not even a first runner-up for this one here. So that also shows you who the true Israelites are. You comprehend. So when Asa or Osiris would have gone into the underworld for that 400 years, it's very symbolic of I and I. So this is my point. All of this is strong esoteric writing, strong symbolism, which I for sure am an individual that says that all symbolism will manifest into reality, into history. Because the symbolism now, not make-upism now, not fairy tale, not European folklore and what people guess and you know what I mean, and headless horseman and this kind of stuff. No, we're talking about ancient African tradition that the ancient ones, ancient astronomers would have observed the movement of the stars, observed the movement of the heavens, and would have definitely taken that and put that in the formation of dance, in the theater, in storytelling, and all that good jazz. And from that, maybe it would have gone into the writing form now and into theology and what people may refer to as religion. So we're not afraid when it comes to exploring the deeper aspect of what is before us. So even the concept of the cross, the Southern Cross, one of the more beautiful constellations in the heavens. And the Southern Cross perfectly aligns with the midday sun on Maskell every year. And Maskell is the commemoration of the finding of the true cross of Christ. Now that alone shows you, remember, this the heavens is alive. So if it's the 27th of October, the alignment it's not there anymore. It's the 27th of September that the cross in the southern hemisphere of the heavens aligns perfectly with the noonday sacrifice on Maskell. Deep. So again, that is a perfect example to show you the connection with the heavens and what we read and what we learn and what has passed down into religion. Because at Lalibela, Gabriel Maskell himself would have carved out the church of St. George, Kedos Georgis, in the form of the cross. People talking about in the form of a Greek cross. Which Greek cross? The Southern Cross is in the sky. Greece don't own nothing up there. You see what I'm saying? So it's deep. So that is just to show you the whole concept of the cross. Ain't nothing to run from. Rasta to deal with cross. Well, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. I feel you. Of course, I understand what you're saying. Eh, eh. But knowledge is good. But in all you're get understanding. You see? Now, to me, the main sacrifice, you see all of that symbolism and esoteric messages that are, first of all, in the heavens, the cross, because the heavens is full of it. The heavens explain in detail the suffering Messiah.
You know, many of us, we depend on maybe the hieroglyphs and the ancient Meduneter and the story, you know, of the story, pardon me, of the suffering Messiah going into the underworld. And then again, in up-to-date religion, for sure, you know that the Good Friday and Easter and the suffering of the Christ, that's the main theme. But all of that theology really does point to a Messiah that shall bear the sins of the world on his back. That's Emperor Haile Selassie the First. Now, again, anyone that is really around here, you know that's how we stand. That 5-year period from the 5th of May 1936 to the 5th of May 1941 represents the 5-year period that Osiris Asa was in the underworld. I'm not going to stay too long on this point because we cover this all the time. You know, this must be our mantra. And of course, what went on in between that period from the 5th of May 36 to the 5th of May 41, I mean, that's it. That is the Messiah carrying the cross. That is the Atlas carrying the world. When the king had to come before the League of Nations on the 36th day of 1936, pardon me, on the 30th day of June, and of course had to speak to them, you know, in a language from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. Remember, at the same time, this is the fulfillment of the scripture in the book of Zephaniah that clearly shows you that the Lord himself shall gather all nations together, and he shall bring them in the valley of Jehoshaphat, and he shall pour out on them his anger. He shall speak to them in a pure language from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, who he referred to, and that's where the pure language coming from, from the beyond the rivers of Ethiopia. The emperor spoke to the League of Nations in Amharic. Nothing like this have ever happened before. No heads of state or head of state ever spoke to the League of Nations. That was the first time. I'm talking of 1936, the 30th day of June. And when the emperor spoke to them in that land from beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, or in that language from the land beyond the rivers of Ethiopia, the scripture goes on to say that Ethiopia was referred to as his suppliant, the daughter of his disperse. Imagine that. Suppliant means the people that I plead for, which is exactly what the King of Kings was doing there in 1936. You understand? The daughter of my disperse. Oh my. Pleading for his exiles that were all over in Kenya, in Uganda, in England, in Jerusalem, and other places of the world because of what was taking place in Ethiopia at the hands of Mussolini and the Italian people. So it is for us to comprehend the importance of that battle. As I said, the Battle of Ottawa, and of course, you know, we definitely stand firm and rejoice in that victory as we held back colonialism, but it didn't end there. It did not end at the Battle of Ottawa. And those of us who are scholars and wise men and professors that are trying to pretend as if that was it and we don't know nothing else, we need to stop it. We need to stop it because Italy came back for a rematch with some heavy, heavy artillery. And they did not colonialize Ethiopia. So who is the hero of that victory? And that victory now, that's the victory that really stopped colonialism once and for all. Not Ottawa. Ottawa could have been a memory. Straight up. Adawa could have been a memory, something that we recall. If we would have lost the war when Mussolini came in, we wouldn't be celebrating Adawa like how we celebrate Adawa today. If we would have lost the war with Mussolini. So we need to revisit that properly to see how come we didn't lose that war. And Ethiopia is still independent. I'm talking to the Ethiopians too. But anyway, we coming. So I am saying now that we have to look at the reality of the world. If Italy would have won that war, it's not just about not celebrating Adawa, you know. It's about a whole new world. See that song, people, Bryson and who it was, that's it. A whole new world, it'll be a whole new world. It surely wouldn't be what you have today. And if you are a student of history, all you have to do is just look through history and understand it. Hitler and Mussolini controlling the world. Just think about that. Okay, Donald Trump in control of the world again. You see how the thing, you know what I mean? Donald Trump, the devil upset Satan. Devil's vexed with devils now. What's wrong with him? I don't know if it's a game they're playing or they're pretending, because they do a lot of let's pretend, you know. Yeah, and hype up the world and make the world feel they're at war and all sorts of foolishness just to have you to change the economy and to broke your pocket and all sorts of things they be up to. Don't trust them. A lot of it is Hollywood. Some of it is real, eh? So just imagine Hitler and Mussolini running the world. So to me, the emperor, who we all know is the emperor, Negus and Nagas, even before the Mussolini war, we already say, yeah, this is the man and the fulfillment of prophecy, and he done prove himself. Mussolini busting, he proved himself again. Mussolini dead, the man proved himself over and over again. Until Mengistu come in 74 and his people and the Derg. And he said, all right, you can have it, but don't hurt my people, or else my history will come back to haunt you. Well, not haunt you, but come back. You ain't haunting nobody. History is alive. You get what I'm saying, family? So the reality is Haile Selassie the first. Number one is that suffering Messiah that bore that cross and that literally resurrected to save mankind. That is my theology. That is my, you understand, resurrected Christ. But now, as I said, this is much broader than that. This is, of course, I know a lot of people don't like to hear what I said there. This is much broader than that. The Honorable King Emmanuel teaches us now, in this theology that I'm speaking of, which is the Lenten period, the Lenten moment, teaches us of the crucifixion of the Christ. Now, personally, most of what I know I get from the elders. And when I say the elders, not necessarily the elder councils. I mean the elders. Elders are not in no elder council. The elders, I'm speaking almost 3 decades of not listening to people. I would say of intrepid journalism, reporting and researching. Yeah, I will say that. Almost 3 decades. Anyone that know me knows that. I would have recorded so many things in my head. from many, many, many of the elders that sometimes I would have conversations with some and they would be like, wow, how you know all of that there? But it's my work and it's my joy and it's my passion. Yeah. So again, I know we're like Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, man and empresses versions of the story would differ too. But again, it's just about understanding and an individual's view or angle of the situation that obviously really took place. So again, most of what I learned is from the elders. I never sat with the Honorable King Emmanuel. Of course, I would have heard cassettes and videos and I understand when the king talks. So many things I get directly from his voice too and say, but I heard him say so and so and so. Very good. I'm saying all of this just to prep what I'm going to go into. So again, we as Bobo Shanti, we have this period where we go into a specific type of fast. A fast that basically leads you to eat once per day. Some speak of from 12 to 2, the fast. Some speak of, well, they used to know it from 12 to 6 and many different things. But the point is, there's a fast. I'm not going to try to go into that here. I already highlighted where you could go and, refresh yourself on a lot of that information. It's there right now. It's there. But the point is that the fast is symbolic. It represents the suffering of the Messiah. That is why the fast is lengthy, the Lent, and would end with a period of resurrection. Now, this fast begins on the day that is called Ash Wednesday. As Bobo Shanti, there's a preparation for this fast to the point that even the day before, the Tuesday, is considered a very tricky day to the point that you have to be careful how you move on the Tuesday because, well, anything can happen to you. Wanted to hear this good, family? Now, I personally, I know this for a fact. Been there, done that. That day before the first Wednesday, very serious. Now, that week that has the Good Friday in it, the Holy Week as it's called, that Tuesday and Wednesday is also very tricky. You actually taught this as a Bobo Shanti that you must be careful how you move through the earth. And that's why the elders would have showed that when the Lenten period, fasting period come, King Emmanuel would close the gates. Only specific ambassadors would go and come. But for the most part, we would stay within the campus, within the compound, because it's service, warding off evil and warding off Babylon as we fast and meditate, pray for just a little time. So the story speaks of the Christ. As I said, one speak of the Christ 2,000 years ago in Egypt, Jamaica. And of course, to some that is just going to be that's just ridiculous. We're not into none of that strippiness because listen, I mean, come on, man. How Christ going to be in Jamaica 2,000 years ago? And Jamaica and the Indians and on ones obviously try to think and rationalize it through history. I don't have to put everything on the table. You know history. You understand what the case was 2,000 years ago in Jamaica and Christ crucified in Jamaica and Jerusalem in Egypt and at Egypt in the Middle East and all of that. So it's just not making sense. All right. But I would have showed the glyph that was discovered in the Inca territory. And of course, remember, we're talking maybe 1500 years ago. And the glyph shows the Christ figure, the Quetzalcoatl, carrying the cross. Now remember, family, the Mormons, the people of the Latter-day Saints, they have this story of Christ resurrecting and appearing to the people in Central America. Just want you to listen good. So you have obvious glyphs of Quetzalcoatl, the feathered snake of the Incas and the Mayan people, and you see him carrying a cross, albeit it wasn't discovered in Jamaica specifically, but it's the same environment. It's the same people that share the same culture 2,000 years ago. Remember, this is not what is in the books, the people who came, for those who use those stuff in school. This is our understanding of reality and studying archaeology and of course, the discoveries, the Olmec people, the presence of the Black people in the West way before Columbus. We just did a program as we were highlighting the Black Indians and the presence of Black people even before slavery. So the Black Christ presence even in the West 2,000 years ago, not nothing too hard to understand, at least from a scientific point of view. And you may be surprised to know that that is not even my outlook of it. This crucifixion that that King Emmanuel speaks of, I see it more closer to home. Now again, listen. This can be multifaceted. I just began by showing you that the 5 bleeding wounds that Christ bore is the 5 years of exile, not exile really, but the 5 years from the 5th of May 36 to the 5th of May 41. Maybe in the 5th month and the 5th day of each month, everything is 5 years apart, Cinco de Mayo. That is symbolic of the 5 bleeding wounds that the Messiah bore for the sins of the world. And the Messiah himself literally had to go through the underworld, fracture his knee, spoke to the League of Nations, fulfilling the prophecy. All of this is the point. And remember, this is Asar, because when Asar resurrected, he became the constellation Sahu. He became Orion. So again, you have many different ancient glyphs showing you the suffering Messiah. It's not anything new. So what was discovered in Inca territory is just another glyph, Interestingly, in the Western world of the bearded God carrying the cross. So that means it's not a monopoly that Jesus have on the cross thing then. That's my point. Because no Christian, will tell you that that's Jesus. They'll argue if you try to put the glyph that was discovered as any Jesus. That's not my Jesus. We know that. That's for sure. So this is the point. This is what we are highlighting here, Royal Family. That just that idea, and I want that to sink in, so we don't sweep everything under the rug. I know we're getting enlightened and, even the old man's teaching, some of it sound a little off, but take your time with the old man's teaching. The old man is the wisest of the wise. So if you had to argue your point, it is not off the wall to say Christ was crucified 2,000 years ago in Egypt, Jamaica. And you see, there's a little flat book that Bobo Shanti used to have in the early days. I've seen it in that book, that 2,000 years ago, although some deny it and some believe that it is individuals who would have crafted that thought. I will say before I move on again, because a lot of reconstruction is taking place here in our theology. Again, don't dismiss it if it's something that came from the Father. But now, let me show you the heights. I remember asking the Honorable Priest Bob, this crucifixion of Christ, my Lord, as an elder that would have passed on, Priest Bobby, a man that moved with the Father since the 1960s. I said, Honorable Priest Bob, this crucifixion of Christ, 2,000 years ago in Jamaica. Priest Bob said, no, man, no, 2,000 years in Jamaica. The crucifixion of Christ was the 60s. Now, of course, they have an next Bobo that going to tell you, no, man, it's not the 16, it's 2,000 years in Jamaica. 2,000 years ago. But you see, the thing is with us, no offense, but we have this ignorant sort of way about us that we need to put away. I'm trying to show us that this can be multifaceted. You have more than one, um, let's just say one, not outcome really, but different ways that the prophecy is fulfilled. This is not religion. This is not make believe. The esoteric and symbolic message is something that is constantly played out. Religion have view as if, well, this man is the Christ and the story done. But in spirituality, the Christ tells you, well, hey, listen, you can be just like me. Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Be ye holy as the Lord is holy. That's the words of Christ. So if you can be ye holy like him, that is why Osiris, we're all an Osiris. We are all Asar. We all go through the underworld. That's why we are all fasting, those who are going through the fasting, because this is your underworld symbolically that you're partaking of. And of course, whatever it is you go through in life. And like every Christ, we expect you to resurrect and bust away the grave death and celebrate your Sabbath in glee and sit at the right hand of the Father and rule eternally. Yeah, that's your destination if you understand the Christ that is within you. So the concept, the story, the theology is very broad, and it does crystallize into history, as I said, in individuals, but in history that you can refer to. So the Honorable Priest Bob said, no, man, the crucifixion took place in the 60s. Now, his version of the crucifixion may be different than some. It's not something I think he witnessed, but he speaks about the 10-penny nail, and those of this ancient order would know what I'm talking about. There was, I think it was 5 10-penny nails, according to the story that was used to crucify the Christ. And I'm not going to go too deep into that. In the interest of time and the points that I want to get to clarify where I am here. Do you remember what I said about Osiris going into the underworld for 400 years? I said that in that case, Osiris, the one man, represented the full nation of I and I, because he went into the underworld in a ship. And of course, we came into the underworld in ships for 400 years. So that Osiris in that specific scenario there represents us as a people, as a whole. So that shows you that Christ also represents us. That's why King Emmanuel referred to the birth of Christ as the birth of earth. We're all a part of earth. We're all a part of the body of Christ, the goody of Christ, you know. So it's a very deep thing, really. So that is why the prophecy now that is related to the Christ, in many cases, can be superimposed on the people of Christ, the church of Christ, or the nation that is, the nation of Christ, whether they are of the church or not, because everybody in the nation not in the church, they're not even bothering with the church. But they're still the children of Christ. What am I saying? Well, this is what I'm saying. Priest Bob says the crucifixion happened in the 60s. Maybe he was told that by the Black Christ. But in the 60s, 1963 to be exact, a massacre, maybe unlike no other massacre, took place in Jamaica at a place called Coral Gardens. Now, this Coral Gardens massacre, according to the report, lasted for about 3 days. The 11th, the 12th, and the 13th of April, 1963. I think the 12th day, which is the date remembered, was the climax. Now, what's interesting here is that the 12th day was Good Friday. The 12th day. Do you understand what took place at Coral Gardens? Again, family, in the interest of time, man. And again, we would have done documentaries. They have a whole documentary on this. We would have done lectures, pardon me, but there's a whole documentary. Do you remember Black Friday? You should watch it if you haven't seen it. Yeah, you need to look at that and understand what the elders suffer. How the song go at the end, do you know how the elders suffer? Can't remember the rest. Something about Rastafari. And it's a serious thing. So the elders were abused, massacred, as the prime minister of Jamaica or the premier, or whatever he was at the time, Bustamante said, bring the Rasta man in dead or alive. So if he giving you too much trouble, not police he talking to you, anybody, bring the Rastas in dead or alive. You could sick your dog on them, that don't mean nothing. The dog would get the reward, Rasta. You see? So that is to show you how deadly it was. Rasta used to trim, according to this, some of them documentaries, and what the elders would say. Ones would go and get the bottles, the beer bottles and the rum bottles, and break it clang, and take the sharp bottle and cut off their locks, running in the gully, cut off the beard, trying to get away from police, because from the see you and you, even if you just have a beard, they will shoot you and beat you and so many different things. And again, many of you would have understood that from the documentary Black Friday there, Coral Gardens Massacre. Yes, family, we have one of those lively crickets here in the studio, just serenaded us, and also happy to be with us here in the Tiger's Nest. All right. So, but what's interesting, again, Good Friday is the day that religion say they crucified Christ. Well, me warn you, if the Rasta man, which he is, represents Christ, what a crucifixion. The Coral Gardens Massacre took place on the day that the world considers the crucifixion of Christ took place. Now, of course, as Bobo Shanti, we see that that is the moment of the resurrection. That's when we celebrate resurrection. In fact, according to the concept and the theology, the crucifixion took place from the Wednesday. In fact, they hung him on the Tuesday and he didn't die. And then according to the law of the land, if you hang a man and he didn't die, you're supposed to let him go. But they came again and they crucified him the Wednesday and they put him in the tomb the same day. But he resurrected the Friday. Priest Bob said that the crucifixion of Christ took place in the 60s. Coral Garden Massacre, which to me is a real crucifixion of Christ, especially when you understand that the Christ figure is also all of I and I, his followers. That definitely was a crucifixion of Christ. But again, what is interesting is that it fell on the day, or at least the time, when Christ was crucified. (1958). The Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards had a banquet. And before I get to 1958 too, for those of you who study history, the same day that we had that the Coral Gardens massacre was taking place, we had it. We didn't have it. Yeah, we didn't plan that at all. But the same day that the Coral Gardens massacre was taking place, the 12th, that day, the Good Friday, those of you who know your history, that's the day they arrested Martin Luther King, Ralph Abernathy, and the other reverend there. His name is evading me for the moment. James Shuttleworth. Yes, 1963, the 12th day of April, Good Friday in Birmingham, Alabama. Martin Luther King would have held a march. I think it was the very first march he ever held that he did not have permission to hold, and they arrested him. And in that jail cell, he wrote what was considered the longest letter that he ever wrote, which was, I think it became known as the Birmingham Letter. And he read it as a speech when he came out just 3 days after. And there's a whole story behind that and how he came out, because the sheriff of the town at that time, he didn't want Martin Luther King in his jail for too long. You could imagine these brothers wanted to be arrested, you know. When you see these brothers go out on the front line to march and picket and sit down in restaurants, their job, their plan, their hope is that they can draw attention to their plight by being arrested. So it was no big thing, as if they were over sad. I guess they were quite happy that they, are now getting the attention that they wanted, and they surely got the attention. But I'm just showing you that happened at the same time as the Coral Gardens Massacre, which 11, 12, 13 but that specifically was the 12th. So, even if you take in the concept of the crucifixion being the Wednesday, even from them times there, the massacre began. And the resurrection was the Friday. Interesting. 1958. The Honorable King Emmanuel Charles Edwards had a banquet. Hold on, before I get to the banquet, let's go back to the Carroll Gardens massacre again. Now, this is another thing. Haile Selassie I visited Jamaica in 1966. Yes, and he visited the Rasses at King's House on the 22nd of April. Basically, that's really what it was. But he visited Jamaica on the 21st of April. And, he gave 31 gold medals, really. Just after he came from the OAU that he just opened with the 31 heads of state, he came and blessed 31 Rastafari with 31 gold medals. You think this is a joke? Yeah. 21st of April, 22nd of April. Do you know that that was exactly 3 years and 9 days from the Coral Gardens massacre that the king visited Jamaica? 3 years, like on the third day he resurrected, 3 years exactly, and 9 days, a week and 2 days extra. And then he stepped in and gave 31 gold medals to the abused, to the crucified, to the ostracized, for the ancestors that were murdered, to the martyrs. In fact, the day that he gave the medal was 3 years and 10 days after the Coral Gardens massacre. 3 years, 10 days. 3 and 1 is 31. And he gave 31 medals. Again, after just leaving Africa, where he opened the OAU in May with 31 heads of free Africa, plus himself. Numerology is all around us. Living numerology, living etymology. It's there. This is why this is the tiger's nest. This is why we're here. 1958. Honorable King Emmanuel opened the Congress on the 1st of March until the 21st of March. When it came to an end, 21st of March, we're talking about the equinox, the spring equinox that's coming up right now. It was licks and kicks and boxes. I think most of us have an idea of that story. In fact, when people call for reparation for Coral Gardens, many ones call for reparations for Bacaward. 21 days of ceremony, 21 days of Nyabingi, 21 days of celebration, feasting, and fasting in Kingston. According to the elders, King Emmanuel officially got a permit to do this. But at the end of the march, a little disruption took place, and individuals got very passionate, and ones set a fire to a specific tree that was planted for Queen Victoria, and ones broke up Victoria's statue, and the police came in, and that was it. And of course, King Emmanuel, according to all accounts, was beaten to a pulp. He was thought to have died. He was sent to the morgue. I mean, what else we can talk about? Ones that were being beaten couldn't understand how one man could take all them blows while they getting beaten. They watching him getting beat. Bongo Ira is who said that, according to Ras Flacco, who was with us, giving us all them stories there. Elder Honorable Priest Zebi from Africa, give thanks, Priest Zebulon, clearly show you that when they pick up King Emmanuel, they drive him to the morgue in the back of the ambulance. Some people use another mode of transportation or vehicle in their story, but the point is they thought that he was dead. I'm talking about 1958. Now, in a nutshell, even that, in 1958, the 21st of March was just like several days before Good Friday again. Which is not the crucifixion day, but the resurrection day. So you have 1958, and you have the Coral Gardens Massacre as two events of serious proportion when it comes to real torture on Rastafari. And we can't really give an account for King Emmanuel in 1963, but we know in 1958 it was all about him. I'm talking about the torture and the beating. He died, Rasta, according to many. Man, when people carry you to the morgue, is not to see what can be done for you, Yeah. They say when they opened the door, he was sitting in sweat and blood. I could imagine the man that opened the door. Oops, I think we made a mistake here. Of course, you made a big mistake. Bongo Flacco said not one of Prince Emmanuel bones were broken, and there he get in power, according to Bongo Flacco. So this story about Christ being crucified in Jamaica, all of this stuff, this ain't fairy tale. This ain't nothing too hard to believe. Like we have to scratch our head. Nothing getting swept under no rug here. Even if you say, boy, it was 2,000 years ago in Jamaica, maybe all that is true too. I come to learn to accept it all. It all makes sense to me. Because to me, the ultimate crucifixion, again, was the 5th of May, 1936 to the 5th of May, 1941. In my book, that is what saved the world. Give thanks for all the different other levels, even the crucifixion I go through. I have my 5 bleeding wounds I could show you. But I've already resurrected, and I am already at the right hand of the Father, ruling supreme. I done with them world there. But the King of Kings, Haile Selassie the first, and that period of exile, read autobiography 1 and 2, them is the Bible. That's the Bible. You can argue with the other fella as much as you want about who write which book, but the first and the second edition of the autobiography of Haile Selassie the first is must reading for everyone that say they're hailing far right. Yes, royal family, make sure you definitely get a copy. You don't even have to download it, of the magazine Kidemi. And of course, the Ambassador's Pen, the latest edition for sure. All the links are in the description. And remember, of course, you can subscribe to the Tiger's Nest and make sure you never miss another edition of these programs here at all. Yes, Royal Family, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery, and you don't know it takes some real eyes to realize the real lies that are amongst us. Give thanks continually. Black Christ reigneth supreme. Holy Emmanuel, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Oh, blessed Lord.